Hi, I'm Ty Brandt. My topic was safety in the construction industry, and my question, to be exactly, was how can AI be used to increase productivity and safety among workers? I had an interest in this topic because my dad and my grandpa both worked in the construction industry, and it's something I want to go into and work into as well. And I had just an interest in how new technology can help problems such as safety. Can the use of AI in the construction industry improve worker safety and increase productivity? Some initial key research was the timeline in the construction industry, as historically there have been a increase in the length that it takes to complete a project. Projects continue to take longer and longer despite the new innovations we keep seeing, which you would think would make the projects and buildings get done faster. And there's been a minimal change in the building methods. The buildings are continuing to be built in the exact same fashion that they were built 100 years ago, and it's about time for a change. The next part of my initial research was regarding safety. Now, safety in the construction industry has improved over time, as 100 years ago there were far more deaths per job than there are today. As seen, there were over 100 deaths in the construction of the original Empire State Building, while nowadays there's minimal. It's rare to see more than 5. However, that number needs to be zero. That people shouldn't be getting hurt or killed doing their job. Um, Safety has to change because these people are still getting injured, and it's something that shouldn't be happening anymore. And the tactics that are being used in safety is similar to what it was 100 years ago. It's just there have been improvements in equipment, such as the hard hat and safety vests and all that. But most of it is just lack of care and patience and by the workers themselves, and there needs to be something monitoring that in order to tell them when they're going to screw up or tell them when they need to stop. Technology in the construction industry was the next phase of my initial and key research. Technology is something that we see continue to change yearly in the world we live in today, as there's always a new phone, new iPad, new something. And well, that is true in the construction industry. It's just that that stuff isn't being produced and integrated at a high level. And so the technology that we are using is very similar to that of what we used 50, 100, even 1,000 years ago. As we look at the crane was invented thousands of years ago. And the only changes that we've made to it is we've built them taller and we've motorized them. But the purpose, the function, everything else of the crane has stayed the same, which means there's a need for new innovation. There's a need for change in order to help us with the technology aspect and help us improve safety and productivity. If technology can change, it helps with all of that. All right, here we get into the data I collected. I collected most of my data through content analysis and then some few email-based interviews. Now this piece right here was a core data of mine. Now I did not create this. I based some of my own results off of this. But this was given to me by some people who work for a company called Indus AI. They create and manufacture a construction based AI. Now, this shows what it can do. As you can see on the left, there are 5 incidents, each with these circles that are colored. Now, each color represents a severity, and um, on a safety scale, as you can see, the darker color is frequently observed in fatal incidents where the lighter one is not. Um, each number in there is a frequent attribute, and it correlates with what might have gone wrong, what created this incident. And then on the right side, it's just offered by the AI preventative actions that should be taken beforehand in order to prevent this from happening. Now, this is my personal results. I based this off of the last chart. So, what I did here is you can see I took the five incidents and I divided them by price, what it cost. Then I took those incidents and I took the frequently fatal attributes and then the occasionally observed attributes and I sorted them out. So I saw each one and what they had in common. And then between those, I found the ones that repeat between incidents. So through this, I concluded that those frequently repeating attributes are the ones that are contributing to price. The ones that aren't repeating mean that if they've repeated in all of them and the prices vary, how can those ones be the things leading to a change in price? So the frequently repeating ones, I just basically determined that those are the ones that should be looked out the most if a company is trying to not only save on safety but also save on costs because fatal incidents can be costly themselves, but if you can limit them and then limit what goes into them, you can save a ton of money. Alrighty, so I had a few limitations. I had unresponsive companies. As you could tell, I didn't have any data on. I had few. I had limiting data on productivity and all that because people I would email them, I'd reach out and they wouldn't email me back, which made this data really hard to find. As to actually go out and collect it, I would have had to implement this stuff myself, which is very costly. So this data can be used to just show construction companies the benefits of AI, just to show that as it is still very new, that it works. It can do wonders, and it can very much increase safety. And all of the companies claim that they increase productivity, so it can do that too. And it can also show AI makers what their AI is doing right, what doesn't need to be fixed, and then what also needs to be fixed. So, in conclusion, AI is very much needed in order to combat the safety problems that we see today in the construction industry. And it works, it's proven, there's just a little bit of a blind spot, but from the companies that have tested it, they've all shown progress and positive feedback. And companies, they should use this. At first it's costly, but in the end it's a cost-effective solution because it can save you the money you put into it and it can also save people. So some future directions I would take is I would actually want to test the products. I would want to spend money and actually put these in a real life construction scenario and actually see how beneficial they can actually be with my own data. And then I'd also want to reach out to more companies as I only got to look at data of the AI by one company. So that's something I'd want to look into too. So, in conclusion, I found that AI is very beneficial and it can be used in a number of ways to increase productivity and safety. And it can also, in the end, I found save money in the long term, as it is a costly investment, but in the long term, you can get that back. So, I found that companies should use that as safety should always be a company's priority. They don't want their workers to be getting hurt or killed, and that's something they should follow. So I think AI is a step in the right direction towards helping safety. Now it's not gonna take away all injuries, but it's a step, and it's a step to changing technology. And I also think that this shows the AI companies what their AI is doing right, and then it also can show them what they can change, what they can develop further in order to help construction and other companies more.